First question I generally ask you is the first time you met Bob.
Oh, in Florida when he came down with the belt. We didn't really meet. We just had. I think we were in Miami at a show, and we were in different locker rooms. So we just met in the ring, and that was it. The next time was in Tampa. The last tango in Tampa, infamous night there where I split his eye, and oh God, there goes all my there goes my chances out the window to New York. But evidently didn't amount anything to him. So I turned out it turned out good, and I didn't know so I hadn't really met him, except for and even the times I was working with him, I didn't spend a lot of time with him.
Right, so you won't know too much about like maybe his amateur accomplishments and early days getting into the business then.
Well, the bios that I've read about the wrestling amateur wrestling title one year, and the next year he didn't return, and then he was always he was a condition aholic. He was always he did the hour of step tests and hour of wheels, and, just simultaneously, always in condition. I heard, I don't know if it's true, that the bed in his home, he just had the 6-inch foam pad that he and his wife slept on. No bed, just the foam. And he was frugal. He was very, he traveled by himself, kept to himself. It was the end of an era, different era.
I like how he was so frugal. He probably still hasn't got a bed.
Well, I heard after I spoke to him, I never really spoke to him until after I got out of the business. But last time I spoke to him, he was running a loan company, doing a loan service. And previously, before that, when I ran into him, he was delivering oil in the Northeast there, pumping and carrying the hoses and doing everything himself, doing all the work, doing all the labor, and reportedly by himself, doing all the labor himself, pumping the oil into people's homes and doing all. I'm sure that's a lot of hard work, carrying those hoses and hooking everything up and cold weather, hot weather, whatever it is. Sure, that was a lot of. So I heard that those are two of his enterprises after professional wrestling.
Well, I know he always liked to work hard, and I read quite a lot of his autobiography in preparation for this. And one of the things I learned from him is in his first territory, which is Tri-States, which is, I think that predates Mid-South, but it's basically Mid-South. He was one of the wrestlers who got in before the show started with the fans, wrestled the fans, and basically, made them realise that wrestling was real, or that was the intention. Were you ever put, you've got some amateur credentials yourself. Were you ever put in that position to ever wrestle fans to sort of, let them know what's up?
No, never. We kept apart. I was never in that. Never held up to that type of standard. A lot of the guys came and they had their own area, own places. Bob. I'm sure Bob just enjoyed it. That's why he would show up and work out with people in the ring. Guys in the ring, stuff like that.
Yeah. Any territories that you worked where that was still a staple, a feature, where you'd invite fans in before the show?
No, to Japan. Oh. Only Japan. Only in those days. After that, and then when I came back later, much later in the 2000s, with the Hall of Fames and stuff, they were in the garden working out matches when the ring was up, before the matches. And night, I was pretty shocked. Not shocked, but boy, have things changed.
Do you
back in my day?
Do you remember hearing any stories about Bob? I mean, you said you didn't really hang out with him too much, but do you remember any stories about Bob where very mild mannered, but when he was tested or challenged, he would really kick some serious ass, whether it was in the bars or wherever it may be?
Oh, I heard one story that he could open his throat, and then he would take a beer. He could take a beer, stick his finger, break another extra hole in, and he could just empty the beer as fast as it would go. The chugging he could out chug, as fast as the liquid or beer or whatever would go down. He would do it. But he was like I said, he wasn't a guy. Maybe I don't know. Maybe one time he was stuck with Skolin or something like that. That something like that would happen. Skolin told that story, but he wasn't out. He kept to himself almost exclusively.
Well, I'll take it. I know this next answer then, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Did you ever arm wrestle him? Because apparently he was good at that as well.
No. I strictly worked. We strictly worked together, hours and hours and hours. But no arm wrestling or feats. Well, feats of strength were involved. He picked me up in a short arm scissors, and did some other stuff that was pretty impressive. But as far as challenging one another, no.
Where was your first match with Bob? Was it in Florida?
Yeah. Yeah, and he was champion already.
Right, so what year are we talking? Like around 1980, sort of around that time?
79, 80, yeah, 79.